Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. Sorry, I'm a few minutes late. I had, like when you say something to somebody or a friend of a friend, but you know it's going to get back to that friend that says everything. Well, sure enough, a friend of mine, not even a close friend, is it used to be close friend, calls me. Her daughter calls me up to ask me if I want to invest my money today, and I'm like, first of all, it's like I got a million and one things to do. You want to call me right then and there? It's like I was like to answer a million questions about a topic that I don't really even like to talk about. So I was not really in a good mood, but I knew because of how I answered her, I knew she was going to tell her mother. So sure enough, her mother texted me. And I looked down, and sure enough, she's like, "Oh, my daughter said that you were mad at her." I was like, "Mad at her? I wasn't mad at her. Passive aggressive, passive aggressive, you know? You know how when people twist words? I don't know. I bet you in tonight's reading, we're going to see some manipulation like that. When people try to pretend, one thing to make you think something, but they're they want to call you out without calling you out, you know. So anyway, for those of you that are new to the channel, this is Scorpio channel, and I do shadow reading. So I like to dive deep within the reading. So I look at everything. And so that means it's not just about what your person did do, what they're going to do. We look at the spiritual blocks and shadows. We see how they play it as karmic themes to help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is. Because why do we attract people? And that there's a chemistry clearly, but there's so much pain. And is there any way to not deal with the pain and still be with that person? If there's many different realities that play it at one time, is it possible, or is it always impossible? We want to know that, because we don't want to waste our time, and that's the thing, because the more time you give something, the more emotional you connect. And so sometimes we see what we want to see, we don't really see what's there. So like when people are passive aggressive, we can feel it. You can feel it in your gut. There's an inner knowing, just like how I knew that kid's mother was going to call me. Hi, is everything okay? Yeah, everything's okay. I'm busy. I don't want to change everything over. Comfortable energy for me, my own spiritual blocks and that. And it's like I'm learning to work with that energy. It's like, and that's the thing. See, I grew up with my own spiritual blockages. That's how it came to my path, obviously. And obviously, money was an issue. It was it was perceived as hard to obtain. Where even though my father was a brilliant man, he got in his own way, and that's the thing. It's not about how what you know in your mind, how smart you are. It's spiritually how healed you are. If you're going to be able to really create the life and the life experiences that you want, it's not how smart you are. It's not how perfect you are. It's what you feel about yourself and how much love you can pour into something. And that's what I learned. Because even though I know I still have money blockages, I know how to make money and I save money. I just don't like to move it. Once I make a choice, it's like I don't want to, you're not going to convince me, and it's almost like the cheap salesman that calls you like 1,000 times to try to convince you when you're like, oh, it's avoidant. It's avoidance. Like it is an avoidant behavior, like when we get annoyed if we don't say something. So again, everything happens for a reason. You're always having a relationship with the universe through everyone and everything all the time. Why everyone does what they do. It's not really what the person does, because what they do is they're trying to, again, manipulate, gaslight. Usually, unless someone is healed and they're actually going to walk away. It's either one or the other, whichever the energy is stronger. And love always wins. That's why, when we choose to love ourselves. All right, let's see. Invincibility. I like that energy. And one more, guilt. I feel like you're in separation from someone that is like, it's like you guys were playing chicken for a long time. And it was like, who's going to cave first? Who's going to give in first? And it's like, you're really showing like what you're made of. Because most people usually, you know, um, cave, cave in. This person likes to hold back. And I feel like because you're the one that's holding back, this person is starting to think about how they treated you, starting to see things from a different perception. So the underlying energy is actually guilt. So the more that, and why is that important? A lot of anxiety that comes with guilt, because this person's saying, well, you're not stopping, you're not caving in, there's no stopping you, and you're on a path. And I feel like whatever it is you've decided, I don't care whatever happens at this point with me and this person or anything, I'm just going to win. And that's whatever it is that you're putting your energy into. So that's what's going on. We have to say why. Well, again, we feel narcissism. This person neglected you. They acted like they didn't care, you know, which is so stupid. You have to say, why does a person do that? It's almost like when a person goes, when you're a kid on the playground, you act like you don't like the person. Hey, Christopher, when you act like you don't like the person, like you could purposely ignore the person. It means the person is emotionally not intelligent. They have problems with intimacy. We're going to see within these love cards because, just because a person is that way. And so they acted like a narcissist, like holding back, acting like they didn't care, which I'm getting this psychically, which is just like, again, holding back to try to make you feel a certain, like, not worthy, like there was something wrong. But is that really what this person like was trying to do? Well, I feel like they overcompensated. That second chakra is all about our unique individuality. And that is how we perceive ourselves, how we can go with the flow of life, how comfortable we are within our own body is that first chakra. Well, that first chakra and that second chakra work very closely together. So I feel like they overcompensated. So someone that was trying to act cool, like when a person tries to act cool and they overcompensate, where they came across as inadequate. And I know that because they're conflicted about whether they really have what it takes to be your partner, because most people cave, and this person has guilt, and they have guilt because they know how they treated you, but it brings them back to the root, which is like, I feel like you wouldn't like me, you wouldn't stay with me if you really knew who I was. So there's a sense, again, that this person created the illusion. They're in their old patterns and they just can't see it. And that's the core belief. The core belief is, created in childhood. It could be created from previous relationship. But this person has lived karmic loops. And those karmic loops that have kept them in a place of feeling inadequate, not good enough, which we know is always rooted in shame. So the person's not going to have very good feelings. So we have to again understand what the root of the issue is in order to be able to heal it and to understand. Otherwise, when we see the bad behavior that comes out from this, because you're going to see it, at least you can say, well, it's like the person's spiritually sick. And I say that because of the story of what a person really feel, and can you participate if you again are going to entertain this energy. You have to know what you're dealing with, because person looks normal, looks healthy, but you're going to see it with in their character, like how they treat you. So a lot of what it is having enough discernment to see when a person is in their old patterns. And their old patterns, what are those old patterns? We want to know that. I wish I had set my cards up before I got on, but it was that girl caught me off. She caught me off guard. Where is it? I want to see. There's one. We will just use this to see. And I want to use a few different decks. Okay, we'll use this also. Okay. Old patterns. Well, whatever it is that this person like is going through, which we don't know, we're trying to figure out. It's like they're not looking to change it anytime soon, is what Spirit's saying. Again, why did this person do? I feel like this person overanalyzes things. They get in their own way. So it's not like this person, again, really meant to 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 react. I feel like what happens is this person begins. Person doesn't. When a person like who they are, what they're going to do is they're going to project a lot of it. So what it is they don't have strong roots within inside of themselves. And because of that, they try to control. And that's what that second chakra is. It's all about control. It's all about dominance. So this person really likes to come across as like they're free. Like they don't like to be tied down, and they come across very childish. So, which is not uncommon if you grew up in an environment where you were taught shamed, if you felt like you couldn't become yourself for that. And not that this is your problem. It's not what your problem is. It's so that you can see the situation for why this person does what they do, and not say this has anything to do with me. However, the trigger of why this person comes into your life is where your healing is. We can say, well, what is this person going to do? Because we want to know, just because the ego wants to know. But if the person's not healed, you already know that, that you're just going to get more of the same. And it's not because they don't care. I mean, we'll see whether they care. I mean, it says they want to make this work. And that when they get around you, there's going to sound stupid, but almost like, hey, Daniel, like it's euphoria. And it's like they love the feeling of love and that connection. And that connection is ESP through the heart and mind. And so it's an internal knowing. It's clear cognizance. It's because you guys are past life connection, and past life connections. People come together to learn. Spirit, again, chooses two people that are going to teach each other, that are going to help heal each other. And wait, this person gets very nervous because there is such a connection and love and it's spirit. They can't logic their way out, even though they try to sabotage the connection where they say, I'm not good enough, which spiritual relationships will do that because person says, well, you're not good enough. That's the whole thing. Love makes us do things that we wouldn't do. Otherwise, we wouldn't learn. So this person doesn't have control over the connection. Clear your energy field and focus on yourself before acting. And that's the thing. This person like is needs to like focus on what they do. They don't. There's a part of them that gets excited and gets nervous and then imagines in their head and how things get grounded. It comes out weird. It comes so they don't want to come across as weird. It's like it's because it covers up the thing because they just can't stop thinking about you. And it's when a person has strong feelings, that's what they do. So again, it's not going to logically make sense when it's a spiritual issue. This person's soul craves you. I mean, does that logically make sense? It's like they don't know why. It's again, and spirit says, well, it would have to be this type of relationship for this person to heal. They have too much, they're too controlling. Second chakra imbalance. Again, I'm afraid. Why again, you're not going to like me, abandonment. So again, person doesn't have it. And so because when a person doesn't have any, any passion for life, which is not a relationship. It's why we would get out of bed in the morning. And is this person lost control of their life? It's like, why? Because they're going to live from their lower energies. We're going to see addictive behavior. We're going to see other energies like that. I really want to know where those cards are. Oh, they're right here. It's like spirit hides things from me. All right. So, okay, that found out. Again, twin flames. That's person feels that way. Now, it might be like this person is not my divine counterpart, and they aren't. But when you meet your twin flame, they usually are not on the same energy vibration. Understand that you're going to attract your opposite, somebody that isn't emotional intelligent, someone that again doesn't feel good about who they are, so they don't really do have good relationships. It's the intimacy, it's the trust, it's the second chakra imbalance, so they feel inadequate. And spirit says, well, you don't feel inadequate in that department. You have friends. You again are friendly and nice and everybody likes you, and this person sees that. It's like, but they have gifts that you don't have. You don't. So again, you think that a twin flame just becomes a twin flame. They are on a lower vibration. That doesn't mean you have to be with this person. Spirit says this person will, if there's real love, they're going to try. And in their trying, they raise their vibration by getting better character. It's again, otherwise it doesn't have. They don't want to let go. This person doesn't want you to let go. They don't want to let go of the connection. And does it logically make sense? It doesn't logically make sense. But what you have is a lot of fucked up energy. It's like, okay, you feel that way, but you do everything that sabotages the connection. Everything that sabotage, you get in your own way. This person has a lot of psychological reversals. That just means they know they're supposed to go left, but they go right. They get in their own way. They get in their own way. And it's because, again, that deep-seated trauma that they haven't healed. And the twin flame helps to take that out. It's like we wouldn't volunteer to do that shit. It's like that hurts. Like no one's like, I'm going to get stuck ruminating for like 10 days and being angry and not having, no one wants that. Working less will help strengthen your relationship. This person tries to, again, hide within work. They're an overachiever when it comes to making money. Working with that logic, linear, uh, very left brain. It's like what I see is what I believe is what I know, just the facts, just the facts. Kind of comes across very cold and calculating. But the thing is, again, and the love is the opposite energy. So this person doesn't know. They're like, they look like bad when they fall in love, or they look stupid. The things that they do. I need you like a heart needs a beat. Like the day I let you go was the hardest day of my life. So you'd be like, well, this person didn't put in any time, didn't any energy, because they didn't want to be vulnerable. They didn't want to be, because again, that leads them to the heart. And the heart, they have a blocked heart chakra. The spirit says they're not going to volunteer to heal their own shit. It's like I have to, again, bring them stuff that they want. So again, they don't have control over love. That's why they look like a robot. They look kind of stupid, the things that they do. I messed up everything, I know. Yeah, because this person knows. You don't think that they know after everything that they do? And that makes them feel even worse about themselves. So again, the karmic loop, that's where they don't pay attention before they act. They're impulsive. It's again, and that's what happens when a person's nervous. They don't think, they just react, and it's like, and then it's like, oh, I overcompensated. I feel inadequate about myself. I feel like there's something wrong with me. And so you're like, yeah, I can tell because it's like you make me feel that way. And I see you don't have a problem with Mary Jane. And I see that you don't have a problem with Bob over there. So it's again, the relationship can look normal. And so you're going to be like, well, with me, it's like I get nothing. And Spirit says, yes, so that's where your healing, it needs to be. Again, because it's that they're the catalyst to pull it out of you. So it's again that karmic theme of how you make me feel. How are you making me feel? And the spirit is, oh, they don't understand emotion, so you're gonna again have to logic it. You don't fucking logic it. It's like what's there to logic? It's like they don't have feelings. What are they, a tin man? And spirit says there's a spiritual connection. That's not a 100% an emotional one. It is connected to the emotion, but there's no logic behind it. And this person doesn't have any spiritual awareness. It's again that they're on a lower vibration. Spirit says, because it's the emotional intelligence that actually gives us a good character. And Spirit says, they're kind of a little bit like Judas, like, shady. They're a business person. They're smart that way. They're calculating. They're, like you're playing chess. They're shady. They're shady. Spirit says, but love makes people change. And, but they don't really know how to do it. Spirit says, well, who do you think makes them do it? Spirit says, you're waiting for someone to make, I don't know how to do it. You're the one. I am drowning in my thoughts. Again, not in the head, is the mind chatter. Because it's hard to be in a relationship and not show emotional transparency and not show feelings and have feelings for a person and then act like a jerk and then get the results that you want. You know what I mean? Just going to keep person again up in the mind chatter and the mind chatter and the mind chatter. Why I call this spiritual disease. The person feels inadequate. And they stay in that lower consciousness. And after a while, you'd be like, this person's an asshole. It's like, I don't care what their issue is. They make me pissed off. And Spirit says, that's where your healing is. Again, just so you know. You're like, so you brought me this asshole because I need healing? And Spirit says, yes. It's like, again, they're not going to be on a high vibration. They're going to have it hurt you. Again, not because they don't love, probably were unfaithful. Again, they were limited. They got a big ego, not apologize. And for a long time, it was a one-sided relationship. And again, and they're keeping their secrets from you, and they hope that you wouldn't find out, but it made them exhausted, tired, because that's not really what they wanted to do. That's going against the spirit part of self. The spirit part of self is God part of self, which ESP through the heart and mind is, hey, I recognize you from past life. So then you feel like home. Feel like home because that's the spirit part of self. So you recognize what this person could be. Again, but they weren't that. And spirit says, no, but you actually believed in them. And again, and that is, again, was unconditional. It's like where they didn't believe in themselves. People, again, a lot of times they don't love themselves, but someone else loving them and believing in them gets them to love themselves. Just like, again, when we have a child, sometimes we don't love ourselves enough, but we love our children. We say, oh, you're not going to let my kid go all day without eating. And God says, did you eat in the past 10 hours? I don't think you ate in the past 10 hours. Yeah, that's okay. I don't need to eat or drink. I don't need to. And God says, you won't get good results in your life. You have to love yourself. You have to love yourself in order to accept love, to be able to give love. This person, again, doesn't. So we see what everything is like in their head, and they're conflicted because of it, which is, I want it, but I don't. I want it, but I don't. So, but God says, I win. I always win. I always win. The universe as an exchange of me. I created the universe. So the universe is always going to bring everyone what they need to do to heal, bring things, situations, experiences. So Spirit says it just takes time when the person is stubborn, because Spirit says, I gave them free will. They can't stay out of alignment with the universe. The universe's energy is love. It's, again, and you are a representation of that. Again, that's why in this story, it's this person's job to bring this person to God, which is love, which is unconditional love, the energy of the universe, which is what a twin flame does. It's not a pretty thing. It's a terrifying thing. It's a scary thing, and it's not a logical one. So you're like, okay, there's nothing about this person that I would even fucking choose right now. Like, that's what it kind of feels like. And Spirit says, yeah, because the runner becomes the chaser. The chaser becomes the runner. This person tried to control the situation, but it just created more and more blockages in the connection, because Spirit says, well, that's what's going to happen. You just be in a Mexican standstill for a long time, where what they're seeing is you're not moving, but you're going to move on. And again, and that's becoming more and more exhausting, because they're stuck in the head, the chattering of the mind, where Spirit says, I don't live in the mind. That's the ego. That's fear. It's, again, and that's from the trauma that this person went through, from, again, however they grew up. It's not important. I mean, we can go into how they grew up, but what's more important is, why are you attracting this person, and what are they doing now? And if you see what they do now, you probably won't like it. You might see a lot of negative behaviorisms, because that's what comes with it. Again, the person's tower moment has to come. The universe does a clean sweep tower moment, because the ego got too big. And in order for this person to really surrender their ego, again, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, the universe says. And they're not volunteering any of this to change, because it's all about the self-image, caring too much what people think, but suppressing those emotions, and which inadequacy and shame guilt and what this person does. It's like they can't shut their mind off. That the drink helps them shut their mind off. So that's why, again, they're battling their own inner demons of feeling inadequacy. Because it all comes back to that, where they're the ones that are really making the judgment call on themselves. It's again because you're not even around. They want to be around. The fact that you're like, I will not like come to you and talk to you and do a damn thing for you because I love myself more is what is intimidating. It's like, well, you're going to hold to a standard, which makes them look at themselves and feel even more inadequate because they have to heal. The universe isn't saying it's got to heal one way or the other. There's deep-seated inner child wounds that need to be healed. So it's not about perfectionism, but the person tries to be perfect, and it's just to cover up shame. We don't need to be perfect. We need to be true. And we're true when we create that second chakra, which is our unique individuality, who we perceive we are. It's again where here it is, you know who you are. And this person's like, how come I'm not strong? How come I'm not? It's again in trying to control the situation. You know, it's again, you overcompensate when you're not coming from a place of truth. It's like you're emulating one way or copying. We're going to either over accentuate or under accentuate because we're not that person. We have to be true to ourselves. So this is what they're doing right now. So they're fighting it, Spirit says. I'm not going to lie, but love always wins. It's not that this person doesn't have feelings, but they have to do a lot of healing. And the best that we can say is, well, is this a dud? Well, it's a dud for now. Like what Spirit says, twin flame energy goes on for years. It takes a long time to take out those inner child wounds. It took a long time to get there. And then you both have lived certain experiences that have looped a few times. And Spirit says, so I need to get involved because we don't want to loop again within the karmic loop of a situation of victimization or betrayal, especially when we really truly want to heal it. But we're like, I don't really know how to heal it. And I just keep reliving those experiences. So the universe says, well, we have to get involved. And we're going to get involved by bringing you this person. You're like, that person's making me more sick, more pissed off. And Spirit says, it's got to come out. That's all that needs to come out. All that is what's blocking you. Again, from perceiving whoever the hell you want to be. Again, separation from me, because I don't make junk, and you and me are oneness. So you're not just connected to, God, the universe, but every single being on the universe, in the universe, every single being in the oneness of empathy, sensitivity, and love, unconditional love. And that's the coming back home, coming back to your true self, your higher self, not whatever the world told you or again the inherited traumas of the past. Spirit says those are a problem. Spirit says because there's no separation. It's again the illusion of separation is from these experiences, and we will create habits, behaviorisms from the experiences that we live. And they were created out of survival, but they'll block you from thriving later on, Spirit says. That's why it's important to only be in the now. Only in the now do you get divine guidance through gut, intuition, inner knowing. That's, again, how we're always connected to the higher self, that spirit part of self. But if you were neglected, again, emotionally, again, belittled, that's not good energy. And you weren't nurtured. So growing up with a parent that was, I knew we were going to get this. I knew it, and I should have said something. But outdoors in nature, it's all about grounding, not being grounded because you did not have a good attachment to a parent. They neglected you. They made you feel as if there was something wrong with you. like by emotionally, like talking to you a certain way, isolating you, taking your joy. Yes, you grew up with like in a home and there was a bed and there was food, there were the basic necessities, but it was chaotic because again, that parent was mean and that you were afraid of that parent. So you did not have a good connection to that parent. So there was a sense of maybe not feeling as if you could be loved because that parent didn't make you feel loved. And it was really confusing. It's confusing because you know that parent, that parent should love me. I know what it should look like, but I'm not feeling that. So when you inherit your ancestors' wounds, understand they lived in environments that we did not live in. They lived through war. They've seen things that we haven't seen. They had to work harder for the things that we have. So they were not taught to come from their true self. Every one has been suppressed in one way or the other. Some have been more oppressed. So either way, the mind doesn't know the difference, Spirit says. We're evolving, hopefully collectively. But again, Spirit says, but things aren't really looking that great out there collectively. Because that's what spiritual war is. So when we see someone that's spiritually sick, that's sickness from the inside out. And that's because there has been no spiritual education. The person just stuck in hating themselves and recreating the same experiences. Why? Because it benefits the government, it benefits society, that there's actually different classes, that other people can say, well, I'm better than you because of the car I drive. That's the ego. Spirit says, again, there's a spiritual war that's happening. And again, God comes again, but it's through the character of man. And it's that we have to fight for that so we can again be able to manifest a life and the life experiences that we want to have. When this war is raging on right now in full effect. And if you want to see, that's just why the spiritual disease happens. But see, for you, you must have done healing, Spirit says, but there's still healing to be done. And so Spirit says, because if you're connected to this energy, well, it's because you haven't replaced it. Spirit says you're an energy being, you're in physical form for a reason, and that's to learn and to manifest. So you have to embody a new consciousness, do something different, become something different. Be like, but if there's a connection, Spirit says, and that person will follow suit. Again, people make it out of inspiration and desperation. And so, you become the catalyst for the healing, but you're healing yourself too, and that's the thing. Where if you were belittled and isolated and always made to feel alone, well, Spirit says, well, you don't need anybody. Spirit says, because you're never alone. I'm inside of you. And I always bring you the right people and situations and the experiences. So you don't need anyone, but it's lonely. The Spirit says, love yourself first. Then this way you can teach people how you want to be treated. You got the deep wisdom, first of all, to be able to do something different. It was about releasing the limiting beliefs that no longer serve you. Again, what you deserve, what you don't deserve, what you'll put up with, what you won't put up with, Spirit saying. It's like, it's being clear. Now align your actions with your heart's true desires. Follow your passion. And even though we see a person on this, understand, Spirit says yes, because when you embody what you love, doing what you love, becoming who you want to be, you wind up loving yourself, and then you attract the right person. If this person's a twin flame, they're going to try. And that doesn't mean you're not going to date people in between. It doesn't mean any of that, because twin flame relationships look crazy. They're on, they're off, they date other people, and only to return again sometimes. And it's because It's a turbulent ride. You're on opposite sides, paradoxal. Spirit says, well, I'm feminine energy. I'm also masculine energy. And that person is too masculine. And you're like maybe too feminine, where that means you're the certain, character traits that are going to help you advance and create a good life to be able to manifest are blocked because of it. They were survival mechanisms built because of the experiences that you lived in. And Spirit says, so, the experiences that you live help you see beyond the illusions of fear, that discern the truth that fear just isn't really real. It's an illusion because every experience we're coming from the now. But understand, if we've gone through the experience before, there's anxiety. Spirit says you have to go through the fear in order to, again, see yourself differently. So with you, if it's grounding, Spirit says you got to just get a better connection to your body. And then so you want to do things like yoga and maybe go to the gym and do breath work, and maybe there's even more healing. It's usually that second chakra, and that second chakra is who I perceive I am, maybe through my career or how within these energies. With this person, it's like, well, I feel inadequate just because of what I do. And Spirit says it's all about integration. It's all about just integrating all facets of yourself. When there's fragmentation from the trauma, we can't heal on our own. So the universe brings us what we need. This is like a twin flame connection, but it doesn't mean you have to be with the twin flame, because Spirit says, I don't really care whether you're with that person or not. What I care about is that you heal, that you both revert back to your original energies of unconditional love, that you realize that there's no separation and I don't make mistakes, that stuck in the perception of yourself that makes you want to disconnect from that part of self to the point that you have to, overcompensate or undercompensate because you're not rooted in self. You're coming from that core belief. Release those chains that bind you to that trauma is, again, and the twin flame connection is what does it. So it's not an easy connection. It's a hard connection. You want to punch that person square in the face a lot of times. You're disgusted by them. You hate them. You love them. You want to see them suffer sometimes. It's like it makes you crazy. And Spirit says, because it's part of all that stuff that's inside of you that also needs to come out, which we wouldn't volunteer. We just want to suppress it, run from it. And because it's scary, but Spirit says, hey, you don't have any control. So it could take you guys like a year, or it could take like 50 years. It's, again, that like the twin flame connection goes on for years. And sometimes people get married to other people, but then they always have the thing for that person. And it's just, it's an important relationship. Spirit saying is one that the universe has a hand in, that God actually is like, this is this person. I picked this person. So again, you're not going to like it all the time. You're like, that's not my type, and then you're like, I actually never liked a person like that before, but I actually like that person. And Spirit says, I know what you like. It's like, you're loved, you're supported. Stop looking for problems. You need to heal, because when you heal, you get vitality, because God is ubiquitous. It's omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, which means I am everywhere all the time, Spirit says, and that's including inside of you. So there's no separation from you and me and the universe. We're just one, and that's through the energy of unconditional love. So when you heal those spiritual blockages, which makes it so difficult for the spirit to work through us. Again, spirit is prana, it's air, it's chi. It's what gives us life, right? And when it's difficult for that to circulate, it's because we're stressed, we have blockages. Your body to your mind's faithful servant. But guess what? Your mind says is not in control. Your spirit actually is. And spirit says, so when you do the healing work, you release the stress, you release the tension in your body, and that gives you more energy. And you're like, well, what's the point of more energy? And spirit says, because it takes a lot of energy to manifest. To manifest your heaven on earth, it takes a lot of money. And that's a lot of work. That's a lot of things a lot of people. It's a lot of energy you got to exceed out. So you need the vitality. That's what Spirit's saying. And know that you're a being of light and you accept the divine energy inside your body, Spirit says, and every one of your cells regenerates, heals. And that's important because, again, cancer comes from being spiritually imbalanced because everything happens in the spiritual realm. So Spirit says it's all in one, brings you back. When you're happy and healthy and the life is easy and you're flowing with the universe, it doesn't mean you're not going through difficult times sometimes. But what you realize is you have no control, but you're able to go with the flow of life. This person doesn't go with the flow of life because they feel inadequate, because they feel like there's something wrong with them. So they overcompensate and undercompensate to the point that they sabotage every relationship, which is what makes them feel inadequate. So without doing that spiritual healing, they will always try to create who they are from outside things instead of inside. The kingdom of heaven's inside of you. If you can imagine it, you can create it. That's how the universe works. There is no separation. I'm going to leave that there. If anyone has a question, was dismissed and avoidant, I let go of. Well, that's good. I mean, listen, all relationships are that way. Like after a while when they're toxic, it's avoidant. But the thing is, if you stay around with someone that's avoidant, then you have to say what part of you needs to be healed, because otherwise we stay stuck ruminating on what that person did, why they did it, and how it made you feel. And all those things are very valid and true things that your subconscious reptilian mind is not going to let you bypass and say, oh, you can just let that go. It's going to say, fuck, you can. It's like, nope. And Spirit says it doesn't work that way. Like we can try and forgive, but we still hold a little resentment in our heart because of how it made me feel. So you have to say, when we say, well, I brought that person into my life to heal this part of you for doing that, because guess what? I'm closer to being able to manifest exactly what I want because I will never make that fucking mistake ever again. I have deep wisdom. I know exactly what it looks like and what it doesn't look like. And Spirit says, unfortunately, on the physical plane, you get the spiritual test first. And then you get the lesson where it's like, hey, I failed that test, but I didn't know the answers. I didn't prepare. And the Spirit says, you're not going to. Again, it depends on the families that you're brought up into and what was going on collectively. There's a lot of different factors, not just your family, that shape who you are and why you think the way that you think. And it's not a blame game. There's love. That's what it looks like, God says. Only my love is perfect. Your love isn't perfect. You're like, oh, my love is pretty good because I had a party for that person and I bought them a nice gift and I do a lot of things. Spirit says there's expectation. Unconditional love, there is no expectation or ownership. It just is. And that's what the twin flame journey does. It just is. It doesn't fucking make sense. So it just is what it is. And Spirit says, yes. And so is it we have to surrender because you'll never win. We have to get to a place of spiritual equilibrium, and that only comes from surrendering. And that's what this person's having a little bit of a hard time doing. It's like spirit says, well, again, that's a second chakra imbalance. The person's very controlling, not just within you, it's within every area of life. And that's why their life doesn't work. They're good in business because they don't give up. And so that's the thing. They have that energy also of being invincible sometimes, just not in the energy when heart's concerned, because they have a blockage there. So I'm going to leave that there. You let me know how you resonated. And if you did like the video, give it a like. And I'll talk to you soon. All right. Bye-bye. Be true to you, remember, because you have to teach people how you want to be treated by how you treat yourself. Love yourself. Bye-bye.